The Akashic Records is a ledger or a record of everything that your soul has been through since it was created. Everything is recorded up there, so good, bad, ugly, not so good. Everything is up there. There's also the karmic field of energy, which sits above the records. And it's super interesting because all the records are there from every life, including this one and all the other ones that you've experienced terrestrially. The first time I accessed the Akashic Records is always something that I'll really remember. And I remember I got there with the help of the Pleiadians to begin with. I projected my consciousness onto one of their Merkabahs and it projected forwards and got me to where I needed to go. When I first arrived at the Akashic Records, it was a sight to behold in my consciousness. I could see this huge golden walled complex in front of me. A sort of courtyard which was about 25 to 30 meters in front of me, and then surrounding me were the guardians or keepers. Guardians or keepers of the Akashic Realm. They're 25 to 30 feet tall, radiant golden beings with triangular shaped heads with no features. And inside the terrestrial records is when you can really go exploring, because there's records of all of your past lives, records of all of your experiences here, and it literally is the library of everything. The Akashic Records are kept in the Akashic Realm. They're kept within a compound within the Akashic Realm. The Akashic Realm is in the 12th frequency band, or the 12th dimension. And within that realm, okay, there's three layers. You've got the Akashic compound, which is where the records are all stored. It's like a database or a ledger for all of your soul's experiences. And then above this, we've got what's called the karmic field of energy. That's where all your karma is stored. And you can go and neutralize and work on the karmic field. And above that, we've got the consciousness field of the Akashic Records. But all the records themselves are stored within the compound or block, which is the base layer of the Akashic Realm. Within the Akashic Realm, you've got the blocks which contain the records, and we've got a terrestrial block which contains all the records that our soul has been through our terrestrial lifetimes, all our lifetimes here on Earth, in other words. We have lived other lifetimes though. We've lived lifetimes as different galactic races. We've had incarnations as different races, and as such, there is a galactic block where all the galactic records are kept. Now, when you look at the size of these, the terrestrial block is quite vast, it's big. If I had to put a distance on it, like an Earth distance, it would be possibly 200 meters in width, okay, so it's quite big. And there's a gap where you can access this compound to go and read terrestrial records. But if you traverse with your consciousness around the outside of the terrestrial block, there comes a larger courtyard at the back, and over on the left-hand side, there's your galactic block, which is about 40% of the size of the terrestrial block. And it's within this galactic block. You go down to the center, there's a central chamber, and then there's the equivalent of what we would call a table. On top of the table there's a field of energy, and you can look down into this field of energy with your consciousness, and you can view your galactic records. It's really super cool. So if you've got questions about your soul's history, you know, if you're a starseed, you want to know what was in your soul's contract, etc., it's all in the galactic block, and you all have access to go and view your own galactic blocks. It's great. The terrestrial block is so vast compared with the galactic block, purely because of the type of experience that we have here as humans. On Earth, we live through the greatest opportunity for evolution that exists when we look at a soul. And as such, we create on Earth the most amount of karma. And so as such, our terrestrial block is huge. Just the human's terrestrial block is huge. Galactic block is 40% of the size of the terrestrial block, and it's this size because when we're incarnated as galactic races, We live a more sort of evolved life from a consciousness perspective, and therefore we create less karma. We live a life which is more in line really with our higher self. It's only really on Earth that we create loads of karma, and as such the terrestrial block needs to be bigger to kind of cope with all of this. There's also a bigger, broader range of emotional experiences, and there's a huge range of opportunities here for growth on Earth. But, you know, by comparison, when we compare the galactic block, or our galactic lifetime, sorry, you know, we live a more sort of balanced existence, and as such the karmic field is a lot smaller, and therefore the records themselves can be contained in a smaller block. So it's just to understand that from a galactic perspective. You can access the Akashic Records by moving your point of attention or consciousness to where it needs to go. There's probably a couple of ways that you can do it. In the first instance, when I'd never been there before, I got to the Akashic Records with the help of the Pleiadians. So my logical mind was thinking they're really high frequency as a race of beings. I'm sure if any race can help me get there, it's going to be the Pleiadians. And sure enough, I projected my consciousness onto one of their Merkabahs, and it projected me forwards like a springboard to where I needed to be. So you can utilize or partner with a frequency of other races to get you to where you need to be. Or if you can find somebody who can take or escort your consciousness to the Akashic Records, that's perfectly possible as well. You know, at the time I accessed the Akashic Records for the first time, I didn't have that, so I had to kind of rely on galactic help from the Pleiadians. But it is perfectly possible, if you've got somebody skilled who can access the Akashic Realm, you can partner with them and they can escort your consciousness to the Akashic Records, or the Akashic Realm rather. You don't need special passwords, or you don't need permission or privileges to go up and read your own records. Your records, your Akashic Realm is an expression of everything you've been through. They're yours, they're your records, so absolutely you can go and access that. So you can choose, so either, you know, if you're sort of good at working with your consciousness, you can practice this yourself, or if perhaps you're not so good at you know, projecting your consciousness, etc., then perhaps look for somebody who can help you. But it's all there, you don't need permission, you don't need passwords, you can go up whenever you want. Meditation is a great tool, and I would say that you're not going to reach the Akashic Records alone just by meditating. Meditating will get you into the state that you need to be in order to access the Akashic Records. So think of meditation as sort of like a preparation for the journey, if you want to look at it like that. So meditation will get you to a place where you feel centered. It'll quieten down your day-to-day thinking mind. It'll bring you to center and allow you to take that transition. The real sort of journey begins when you can get to point zero, which is it's the blackness, it's the stillness, it's the nothingness. People quite often mistake this for the finishing line, and because they get there initially and it's just black, there's nothing there, they're just convinced that nothing's happening, talk themselves out of it, and then come out, and then go back in and repeat the same process and come up with the same block. But when you can utilize and partner with meditation techniques to get you to that stage of blackness and stillness, it's from there that you can move your point of attention through the consciousness field to get to the Akashic Realm. The Akashic Records is as real as my hand, it's as real as anything around me. We tend to look at consciousness in a different way than we look at the physical, and we need to start to respect the metaphysical world, the energetic world, as much as we respect the physical world. They both exist, it's just we exist within this 5-sense reality, and anything outside of that, our logical mind struggles to kind of comprehend because we can't see it, we can't touch it, we only experience it with our consciousness. One thing I can say for sure is that when I've partnered with the Akashic Records, when I've worked with people and I've been back through their past lifetimes and we've gone in and cleared karma, you know, people start to have memories about their past lives. It starts to come through from their heart center and everything starts to make sense. They then start to see real shifts in their physical 3-dimensional 5-sense realities. So 100% it exists. We need to start respecting and acknowledging the metaphysical world, the energetic world, as much as we respect the physical world, because they just exist on different planes of perception. I've gained so much knowledge when I've been in the Akashic Realm. I've seen into my past lives. I've unhooked soul patterns as a result of certain experiences through my different lifetimes on Earth. It's given me more of an understanding of my journey to this point. So I've seen my past lives, I've seen different records, etc. It's been really great. I've also gone to the Galactic block, which is in the Akashic Realm, okay? And I've seen my galactic lineage. So I saw where I came from last. I came from Arcturus. I'm an Arcturian starseed. Before then, I've had different galactic races going back. So it really gives like an overall picture of your history, and everything begins to make sense. You know, another thing that's like rarely mentioned really is that different galactic races, they have different personality traits. And what you'll find is when you discover where you came from, if you're a starseed and you discover your soul's family and where you came from, what you'll discover in this lifetime quite often is that you've got personality traits in line with the galactic race that you've incarnated from. You've just come through this veil of forgetfulness here on Earth. So it just gives you a huge broad understanding of your history. Not just that, so from a curiosity perspective it's good because we like to know where we've come from and all the rest of it, but it really helps us sort out karma in this lifetime. We can work with a karmic field. We can kind of clear up problems and issues that we've got in our life which are karmic related. So it can really help on every level, and I would really recommend, especially as they're yours anyway, go up and spend time in the Akashic Records. It's a marvellous, marvellous place. You can access and work with other people's records alongside your own. There is a slight difference though, because I'm of the light and of the highest vibration, and as such I never energetically impose myself on anybody. I always ask permission, and this is quite relevant for what I'm going to be telling you now. So around you, you've got this energetic field. I call it the egg. It looks like an egg and it's fluid depending on your emotional state. If you're joyous and you're higher vibrational, it expands, but if you're in fear or worry, it contracts. So this egg is kind of fluid, but that's your personal energy field. Your personal energy field is the key which unlocks the door to your Akashic records. So whereas I can unlock mine because I sit within, my consciousness sits within my own energy field, in order to work with somebody else's, it's really important that we ask permission in the moment, and then what we do is come inside somebody else's energetic field with our consciousness, and we can go up to their Akashic records. I do this in one-to-one sessions where I work with clients. I do this in group sessions where I've escorted group consciousnesses to their own Akashic records, many for the first time. It's a really intense experience. Like I say, I do group sessions, I've got workshops, courses. I also do one-to-one sessions where quite often I'm accessing somebody else's Akashic records, reading from their past lives, giving them insights into parts of their soul's history they may not be aware of, and more importantly, working on the karmic field of energy. What we can then do, which is super interesting, once we've worked on the karmic field of energy and we've repaired it, because effectively we take a slice out of the karmic field when we neutralize it, we repair then the karmic field, we bring both sides back together. I then drop down and I'm inspecting somebody's personal energetic field for distortions around what we've cleared. And typically your subconscious is plugged into these distortions, and your subconscious creates your perceptions create your reality, right? So then what we do is we consciously remove these distortions from our fields, and then we rewire this with frequency that serves us. And then, which is really amazing, is if somebody's been through sort of pain or trauma or anything which is sort of wounding really around what we've cleared from the karmic perspective, when we install the correct programming, the subconscious then dumps all of the pain in the pain body, and then there's a huge purge and release of these emotions. I've seen this, I've done hundreds and hundreds of one-to-one sessions, I've seen this so many times. It's a really profound experience, and if you haven't experienced this, I'd highly recommend it, and it literally all centers around the Akashic Records.